right, here we go. Well, we're live, and thanks for tuning in. My name is Maynard DeVere, for those that don't know me, and I'm introducing myself with my new podcast, Gears of Trust. So, Gears of Trust is the only podcast that actually tears down the walls between employers, employees, and family life, right? I'm a mechanic by trade. I'm a heavy duty and an auto. And I'm a firm believer that we need to have real, unfiltered conversations about really what's happening in the workplace and at home. This show is unapologetically raw. There's no corporate spin and there's no filters. So if you're triggered easy, you might not want to watch this. It's just honest talk about things that truly matter, what happens in our lives. No nonsense. You like no nonsense discussions. You're not afraid to get a little messy. You found your spot. So I guess we'll dive right in and introduce myself a bit more. So I come from the other side of Canada. I'm located in northern Alberta right now. I've been here for 22 years. I'm an auto mechanic from back east. Turned into a heavy mechanic when I came out west. Working the oil sands in northern Alberta. And I want shovels. I do heavy electric mining shovels is what my specialty is. And I'm out there with guys in service trucks around the clock. We do a 12-hour night shift from 8 until 8. From 8 in the evening till 8 in the morning. And from 8 in the morning till 8 in the evening. So we do 12-hour shifts, 14-day rotations. And that gives us some time to talk to people. Does that make sense? And in some of our truck conversations, a couple of my friends had mentioned that, hey, this would be a good idea that some of these conversations captured and actually turn them into a podcast. I am an author as well as a mechanic. I've written a book, and it's called Onward Buttercups. That's at publisher right now. We're hoping to get a Christmas launch in 2024. Get that out to Amazon, Google, Barnes & Nobles, and all the other books. People, this podcast here is going to be dropped the week of November the 18th. And we'll be doing one episode a week is what I'm going to be dropping. I'll pre-record a couple. Basically, what I want to do right now is get everybody a chance to know me. I am on Facebook. I am on Instagram. I am on X. I am on Truth Social. I am on TikTok. And I am on LinkedIn, right? Also, I have a YouTube channel that I'm putting up, and I will be creating a Rumble channel for this. So there'll be no reason. We'll be going with Apple, Spotify, and all the big names in podcasting. Those will be coming to us. I'll just bring that up right now, as a matter of fact. We shall be on. Pull this up here right now. Voice logins can take a while, right? That's not what I wanted now. But we'll be on all the big players. First episode, I'll announce it anyway, and I'll post it on the social media feeds where you can find me. Also, URL to my website on Podbean. We'll be using Podbean and Buzzsprout as our primary ways of getting it out there. Once again, I'm a licensed mechanic. I've come there from New Brunswick. I was licensed before I came to Alberta. I've worked. Wow, where have I worked? I was in the Navy originally. I've been in the workforce for 50 years. That's half a century, if you're wondering, folks. So from 1978 as a naval weapons tech in the Navy. Did that for 5 years. Got out. Got married. Went queer and found a woman. That's what they said on the ship. From there, I moved into automotive. Automotive, when I got out of the Navy, I started doing body work and automotive mechanical work in New Brunswick. I was working at a car dealership, so when the body shop slowed down, I moved over to the mechanical side. Picked up my license. In the year 2000, my world crashed. I was running my own business. Wife and I broke up. So everything was a fresh start coming back out into Alberta. 2002, I started with 2 garbage bags of clothes, a 93 Chevy Blazer, and a U-Haul trailer with my toolbox. My Snap-on toolbox that brought me out here. So And that's where I started. Let's move forward from 2002 to 2024 is where I'm at right now, including this year. I'm in Alberta. I got my heavy duty ticket. I've managed bus companies. I've managed oil sands outage teams, fuel and lube departments. I've twisted wrenches on shovel crews. I've fixed natural gas engines. And through everything that I have done, the amazing part that I've found is that it all come down to one thing, and that was teams. From being in the Navy in 1978, I was involved in a team. Doing natural gas compression in the bush, a team. I run my own shop, I needed a team. I owned my own restaurant for a while, I needed a team. I managed a shovel crew, needed a team. Phil Lowe put together a team. Went to other mine sites with other companies, always on a team. So the one consistent thing I saw on a team is you had strong people, weak people. I've taken a lot of management courses within the oil sands, and some of them really good. But one thing I did learn to do is to CYA, cover the company's ass through liabilities and stuff. So there's a lot of training and coursing on what to do as a supervisor and how to not expose yourself. I learned a lot of things about measuring productivity, measuring costs, efficiency, availability, yada, yada, yada. Of all the places I've worked, all the places I've managed, at no time have I ever been given a course in relation to building a team or how to treat members of a team. Everything that I learned to date has been through the school of hard knocks. And ironically, if you're a good mechanic, owners and supervisors think if the guy's a good mechanic, a good technician, he's going to make a good supervisor. Totally different. As a mechanic, you're fixing machines. As a supervisor, you're fixing people. You're motivating people and you're breaking down barriers for people. So that led to the book, Onward Buttercups, which is going to be a really, really exciting book. Into 2025, I will be turning that into courses where you can go to my website, onwardbuttercups.ca, and we'll have courses that you can log in on and instruct yourself. Then also from that, I'll be building an app that you can load to your phone, and you want to learn how to manage your team, have your team function at a higher level, you'll be able to do that. But the podcast is not a monetization thing. It's a labor of love, and the guys I work with kind of put me up to it. Really wasn't about it, but just driving around in the mine truck, and the guys like Eric and that, you know who you are, driving around in the service truck in the mine, just chewing the fat and shooting the shit. And he said, man, you should have a podcast. It's pretty funny stuff. And I thought long and hard on it first because a podcast is a labor of love. It takes a lot of work. So over the last 4 months, we're into December of 2024 now, I started this process in July. And the learning curve has been phenomenal. Like, it's been harsh. I use a lot of AI technology. I'm a mechanic. I'm not a writer. Ironically, I've written one book, and I've got a second book completed now. I got to do some finalizing on that, and that'll be a follow-up book to the first book. But getting into it, like, it was, man, so much to learn. I'm 65 years of age next month. Or no, this month. It just keeps changing every year. Who's tracking it? I don't know. I turned 65 this year, so for 65 years of age, it's been quite a digest. And ironically, I'm using, to put together this podcast, I'm using 6 different AI softwares to make this all happen and come to fruition, from writing. I'm doing this right now. I'm doing this recording. The recording I'm using right now is, Descript. I'm using Descript AI software, which is really cool. I just launched a trailer on my social media feeds. I used InVideo AI for that. I use ChatGPT and Gemini a lot for writing. I use Designer for books. I use Buzzsprout, Podbean. I use HeyGen for cloning myself, and 11 Labs for disguising voices of guests. So if you're a guest or you want to be a guest on any of my podcasts, and you're in a sensitive position that there could be some serious repercussions to what you say. I can help you with that. By use of AI technology, I can totally change your voice. So when I record this session here, there's multiple tracks. I have audio tracks and visual tracks. I'll have two video tracks plus two audio tracks, and I can actually take and edit and or change the voice of an audio track. So if you in your inkling would like to say something, but because of your position or the place within which you work, you're going to take a bad kick in the nuts in the deal, let me know. All my guests, I want you to contact me via private messaging one of 6 social medias, be it on YouTube we'll be going on Rumble too. YouTube and Rumble, LinkedIn or whatever, or however you get a hold of me, it doesn't matter. Come in on the private side and tell me what your needs are, and I can accommodate it. But there's things that people are making money and paying wages and have families to feed, mortgages to pay, and in this cancel culture that we have, you have to guard it in quite a number of ways. So once again, I've mastered that art of actually removing your voice completely and replacing it with an artificial voice or an avatar voice. That's what I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for. So I've created animated avatars of myself, cloned avatars of myself. I can change your voice or whatever it needs to be. So if you want to speak freely, I can enable that. On the visual side of the street, if I make a digital animated avatar of you, you're still going to be identified in most cases by people who know you. So I would recommend going to a Halloween shop and buying a mask, and we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. Worst comes to worst, back in the 70s, we had a guy called the Unknown Comic. He used to wear a paper bag over his head, 2 holes for his eyes, and 1 for his mouth. That will work. So if you're looking to disguise yourself, not a problem. We can go with the Unknown Comic routine, something you can get cheap, a paper bag around in the store. I'll handle your voice, and then you can talk freely. So that's pretty cool. So over the next 2 days, today is what? Let's look at the computer. 17th of November. So over the next 2 days, I'll be dropping a couple episodes right quick, bang, bang. 2 quick episodes, and then we'll run into a routine of 1 a week. If there's any topics you want me to cover or dig into or investigate for you, by all means, let me know. More than willing to. Other than that, I guess that's about it for me. So I am the type of guy, like I was saying to someone the other day, well, what's Maynard all about? Well, I'm a pretty simple, upfront type of guy, no bullshit. And this podcast as well, we won't be filtering out curse words because I'm a mechanic, so I use the F word like a comma most times. So if you're easily triggered, I recommend you do not turn into this podcast, because not through ignorance, but out of a casual conversation, there's always something that offends somebody some days. And it never, ever, ever ends, right? I owned a restaurant in Edmonton. I created a commercial. Maybe we'll bring that up in another podcast another day. Created a commercial where I was eating crab with a sou'wester on and embellishing my culture as an East Coaster. And I was with a fish franchise in Alberta. I owned a store let's just back it up here a bit. I owned Joey's Only Seafood, Manning Crossing in Edmonton, and head office did not know how to market. Anyway, I took local marketing in my own hands and created a commercial with Global TV. We created a character called Uncle Bert, and we did a 30-second commercial with me eating crab, basically. And it had a funny twist to it. And head office got a hold of me that one person had complained in all of Alberta from Red Deer north. So we're talking about 3 million people. And you know what they complained about? The lady complained that it was making East Coasters look like crab-eating savages. Ironically enough, her husband was a Newfie, and she was from Ontario. So she didn't even have anything to stake the game. So that being said, back up again. If you're offended easily by the Alphabet Gang or whoever, whatever you're not good with, that's an issue you have to deal with, you probably don't want to watch this podcast, because it's going to be mechanics, welders, crane operators, maybe truckers, I don't know, people in the real world talking about real shit. So that being said, thank you very much for your time. I've got to edit this now because I do all my production. I do my own audio and visual editing. I thank you very much for giving us a look. I'll be posting this tonight, the 17th November, and actually I'll make the website active now, and we'll get the games going here. So thank you very much for tuning in. Looking forward to see you on some of our episodes. Thanks. Bye-bye.